Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, smash that subscribe channel. We can't thank you guys enough for helping us grow this channel. It means so much. Subscribe, leave those alerts on, follow on all your favorite podcast providers. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. Are you okay?
I said your line, but anyways, go ahead. Podcast provider. Sorry, you're going to say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Sorry, brother.
Always.
So we're not starting again. No, we're going to keep going. Yeah, Ray made the mistake. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Right. You can find us at Ray Benny Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Now I'm totally messed up here. Find us on Discord and Reddit as well. Have a conversation and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Hey, let's have a sip.
Yeah, great start.
Here we go. Great start, just like the Bombers. At 0-3, let's start off with a Bomber Talk, brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field, or in the stands with a custom airbrushed helmet, goalie mask, or project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And don't forget, tell them Ray and Benny sent you.
I almost said that line too. It's going to be a rough one. Let's start off with the Blue Bombers. What's your number one concern with the Bombers, and has it changed since we last talked?
Yeah, I mean, I think my main concern last time was Zach Collaros, the main part of it in the offense kind of thing. But right now, to me, it's the injuries. And I know the Bombers don't really necessarily have a lot of control over that. Shit happens on the field. Guys get injured. But right now, that's taken away from the offense. To me, stepped up a little bit. They started off slow against BC, but they started rolling as the game kind of went on. So I kind of liked what I saw there. But then you're losing guys. You lost Dalton Schoen. You lost Wheatfall, and now you've already lost Lawler before. So now it's harder for that offense to gel, right? You're down your two of your top three receivers. That just leaves Nick Dembski, who is having himself a great game against BC.
Yes.
But it's not just the receivers. Your defensive linemen, a bunch of guys hurt there. Defensive back. So we still haven't seen Jamal Parker yet. So it's tough right now for this team to kind of gel and get together, and starting off 0-3 is going to make things tougher and put a lot more pressure on this team. So hopefully these injuries subside and some guys will be able to step up.
Yeah, it is injuries. Like, you can't really elaborate on that. Look at this. Look at this. Miles Fox on the 6-game IL. Miles Fox, Taiwan Garbett, Celestin Haba, Noah Hallett. This dude has had a tough time these past two seasons. Season-ending injury, nagging injuries the year after. Kenny Lawler, Cam Lawson, a Canadian who we knew was going to have a breakout year, and of course the aforementioned Jamal Parker. Like, nobody can be surprised that a CFL team without 4 starting defensive linemen and playing without Jamal Parker and Deatrick Nichols for a while. Yes, injuries, number one concern.
Yeah, and Big Hill was out for a game as well, right? So yeah, it's a cause for concern. It's not the reason why the Bombers are losing. They've started off slow out of the gate. It's part of the reason, but it's not the only reason. Because the offense still hadn't gelled even in the first couple games. And that Ottawa game is starting to look as a huge loss, especially the way that Ottawa just got thrashed against Montreal, right? That was a game there for the taking. So Bombers are just gonna have to buckle up and get through this.
Most encouraging thing from the BC game, I was pleasantly surprised by Buck's play calling. He had BC on their heels consistently. Better use of Chris Streveler, no doubt. Good use of the running back, especially when Brady Oliveira came in. Quite surprised by the amount that they used him based on what was going on throughout the week, but he played very well. That crazy long run that he had, stiff arm, that was great. So that's the most encouraging thing for me. This progression of the offense in 1 week was huge. From a huge step from what we saw in week 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. The offense and Zach Collaros, I know he didn't throw a touchdown in this game, but the Bombers did hit 3 touchdowns on it. 23 of 30, no interceptions, 247 yardage. So yeah, it was encouraging them to see, and Oliveira ran angry on a few of those runs, trying to show, hey, Mike O'Shea, I'm the starter. Put me back in a starting depth chart, because that was a big deal last week. Unfortunately, the offense just couldn't get done at the end. That throw to Dembski, and Dembski just missing it at fingertips would have been a huge play in that game. I know BC would have still had time, but That would have been huge and a huge boost if the Bombers could have been able to pull that off. But I like what I saw. We were down on this offense for 2 weeks. So hopefully this is a step up. And this is an offense that lost two receivers, and you had Chris Strebler playing wide receiver late in the game. So
You
yeah,
caught
it's
it.
good to see them step up after a slow start to that BC game and move that ball.
Yeah, you know what? Last week, this whole story about Brady Oliveira and Mike O'Shea, give me a break, media. Really? What a non-story that was. These are veteran players and veteran coaches knowing what they're saying at the right time. They didn't want to give up the gameplay. They fooled us all. Brady Oliveira was used more than anybody thought he'd be used. Like, come on, y'all. Give me a break, this guy. Most discouraging thing from the BC game, lack of pressure. No sacks from the D line. I get the secondary did not look good, but they can only overcome so much when you give Vernon Adams all the time in the world in the pocket. Like, I really think the Bombers got to start reaching out to Sean Oakman, unless there's some kind of injury or off-field issue. There's enough cap relief for these guys injured right now that they should be calling that guy. Like, maybe even look at Jonathan Kongbo as an alternative, as a rotational player, because he knows the system, and maybe having him back in Winnipeg and back under the veteran leadership will get him back on track. But that D line is not looking good right now. Bombers are second last in the league with 3 sacks in 3 games. Edmonton and Montreal have 8. Like, Bombers got to figure stuff out. That D line is, yeah, and I get it. They're missing a lot of starters right now, but then they got to put another plan in motion. They can't be waiting 6 games for other guys to come in and do nothing, because then it might be too late by then.
Yeah, that I agree on that one. It's a D for me as a whole, and that starts with their pass rush. They got a lot of rookies on that back end, especially with injuries last game. How many were starting there? Besides Brandon Alexander and Evan Holm, the other 3 were basically rookies, right? So yeah, you're going to need to bring some pressure and get to the quarterback. And there was times Vernon Adams had time to sit in that pocket, even when they were blitzing. They still weren't getting through. And one of the blitzes was late in that game on the last drive, and they didn't get through. And Brandon Alexander got burnt deep. So yeah, they need pressure. They need it, and they have to figure it out. If it's Oakman, if it's it's picking up the phone and calling Jeffcoat and dragging that guy back somehow. They need to find another guy on the other end to help Willie Jefferson out, because it's gonna be tough for that guy to do it on his own. Plus, you got Jake Thomas, and then the other 2 guys are brand new, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough, and it's 3 games in. They may take some time to figure things out, but the season moves on and moves on, and you don't want to fall behind too far. And I know it's a CFL; you can be 6-12 and still make the playoffs, but you don't want to do that, right? You want to be able to going on a roll in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, get that pass rush going.
We're hearing that a lot from the locker room. Oh, it's a long season. Be patient. We're hearing that so much from a lot of the leadership in the dressing room. So then, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the Bombers being complacent?
I'm not too concerned, so I'll hit it as a 3. Like you said, it's still a veteran leadership group. They still got their guys: Willie Jefferson, Big Hill, Calaro, Stanley Bryan, all these guys that know what it takes to win.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I know you could be saying this, and all of a sudden it's week 15 and you've only won a few games, and it's like, oh crap, right? But they're not getting blown out. The Montreal game, yeah, it wasn't as close as the score would suggest. And the Ottawa game, like I said, looks like a bigger loss than what it was, because Ottawa doesn't look as good as we thought they might have been. So injuries are hurting them and taking a lot of team away from them. But I think this veteran leadership will be able to pick it up, and I think they'll know what to do to start winning some games.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go at a 6.5 and trending upwards. I think they totally came into the season unprepared. O'Shea admitted that they came into the season unprepared. Maybe he should have given some snaps to some more veteran guys. So that's not a good start. And not saying that they need to be panicking or anything like that. Sure, the veterans will come together, but it's not the same group of veterans as the year before. They don't have Hardrick. They don't have Houston. They don't have, who was I going to say?
Bailey?
Bailey. Like, those are some, they don't have Janarian Grant. Those are some big pieces that haven't been replaced. And I think there has to be more expedience into coming together as a team. Like, you have a lot of young guys who are following the lead of, oh, don't worry, it's going to be fine. We're going to come together. They don't panic, but have some fire. start a fire under some of these guys' asses. Like 3 or 4 teams have clearly gotten better this season. The Bombers can't wait too long, and I'm kind of concerned that 6.5 out of 10 right now, that they are being complacent. I know you got to follow your leaders, but this is not the same core that they've had in years before. So I'm really concerned about them leaning back on that too much.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're just gonna have to wait for some of these guys to figure out how, like Tyrell Ford, right? Not a good first game, very good second game. Not a good, like, he's still up and down and still learning. The same with Terrell Bonds. Like they're still learning this game and the CFL game and how to play it, right? So yeah, the veteran guys need to show them the way a little bit. And look at Brandon Alexander. How long has he been here? And he's a veteran guy, and he got burnt deep on that play late in that game, right? So
it has to be more concerned to get better. There has to be more concern to get better.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You have to get these guys up to speed. It's tough, you know, and it'd be nice if Jamal Parker at least is in that lineup, you know, to help that secondary a little bit. So you're not bringing in 2 to 3 new guys there kind of thing. But yeah, it's good. I mean, they got good coaches, right? We've seen this. I know some new guys with Jordan Younger and Mike Miller on special teams. So we'll see how these guys pick it up. You know what? This could be a transition year for the Bombers, because I think next year would be the bigger year of the 2025.
Come on.
I'm still saying they're competing. They're going to be in the playoffs. Bombers aren't missing the playoffs, but it's going to take some time for these guys to figure things out as they go, because there's a lot of new guys in there.
I hate that transition year. They're not a roster that needs a transition.
No,
they're not. They're a roster that needed more reps in the preseason to come together as a team. This is not a transitional year, so we can get ready for the Grey Cup in Winnipeg. This is a veteran team that has a small window in the next 2 or 3 years before this is almost a whole roster turnover. Like, I don't know. I don't want to panic, but I think it's very important to start a fire under this team's ass. Like, they're 0-3, and they're getting a little bit better.
Transitional may not be the right word, but I'm just saying it's a team that now it's going to have some guys learning. They're not going to win 15 out of 18 games like they did, right? They're going to be more losses. Unfortunately, it's already 3, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, these guys are going to learn. And again, we saw Montreal and even Toronto the year before. You get hot at the end, and that's better than starting off hot. So we'll see where the Bombers go in the next couple of weeks. They got Calgary coming up here this week. But yeah, I still have a lot of faith in this team being able to turn things around and be in the mix. I'm not saying they're going to get out of the playoffs or anything like that. I still think they'll compete.
I want to hear someone say we got to get better. That's it. We got to get better. We have to execute. This patience is almost reminding me of the Jets' patience. We have 60 minutes to win the game. Ugh, come on now. Let's let it fire. What do the Bombers have to do to beat the Stampeders? Let's start off with the offense. You go first.
Beat Brady Oliveira. This is his game, especially with the injuries at wide receiver. James Butler put up 119 in week 1 on Calgary. Mitchell even ran for almost 40 in that game. Game 2, William Stanback had 70 almost. Vernon Adams had another 16. So right now, Calgary, unless they got better over the bye week, are susceptible to the run game. So Brady Oliveira has got to be that guy, because there's going to be some rookie wide receivers in there, right? Maybe it's Ravi Alstein, who they brought back, Jeremy Murphy, Claricus, or whoever they're going to bring in there. So, yeah, Brady Oliveira has got to be the guy, and the O-line has to have a solid game as well.
I do like Jeremy Murphy. I hope I get to see him play soon. I'm going to give a few things in regards to offense. Like you, lean on Oliveira, but lean on your Winnipeggers. Brady Oliveira and Nick Dembski are probably the most dependable and trustworthy weapons that you have in the offense. So make them the center of your game plan. You know what I'm going to say next. Use a heavy set. Get the one-on-one matchups with Oliveira and linebackers. Use a heavy set with trip receivers to get the mismatches on one side of the field. I miss that. Stop using heavy set as a one-off. This should be a staple of the Bomber offense, especially when the offensive line is not performing up to the standards that we are expecting as Bomber fans. Use Nick Dembski more at the line of scrimmage. Use him more in motion like you have in the past. Use him more in the running game. And of course, the O-line has to get better. Second most sacks in the league, and that comes back to heavy set. Help them out. Put in an extra O-line in, but second most in sacks with 6. And countless amounts of pressure on Zach Collaros. So, I'm going to put a little bit on Zach Collaros, but come on. Like, that O-line is not playing good, and they're playing Calgary, who has 1 sack this year. This is the game where they come together and beat someone's ass on the line of scrimmage. If they can't prove that against Calgary, we are in trouble. Last thing, more 30-yard plus plays. No big plays are happening in the Bomber offense right now. And I get it. You don't have Schoen, you don't have Lawler, but they got to find a way to open things up and get big plays with this offense because everyone's playing them close and tight, and they're not scared of the big play right now. So those are mine.
Do you think Nick Dembski should have caught that long ball last game?
That's hard to just dive when you
Do you
look
think
at
he should have laid out at least?
Well, when you're looking at it, who knows? Like that's
Yeah.
really hard. It was right there. Those are one of the ones that had to kind of land. Yeah, I guess he could have. That's a hard jump though, eh? Over his shoulder on the other side. So I'm not gonna put him on. That should have been in the breadbasket with a veteran like that. That was right there. A little too much air under it.
Yeah, he got a little bit of pressure right at the last second, so then maybe that threw Claros off a little bit on that throw, but that was big. He had him.
How about defense? Although we talked about this a little.
Yeah, we just talked about it, right? Pass rush. Get to Jake Meyer, right? Because again, you got to help that secondary. I know Dietrich Nichols will be back this week, or it looks like he'll be back. Actually, I thought he would, and I thought he was practicing, but I thought I saw that he did not practice today, actually.
Oh, really?
So yeah, unless the graphic was wrong, but I thought he did practice until I saw that. So hopefully he's good to go. Otherwise, yeah, we're gonna go with that rookie backfield again. So, and I think Brandon Alexander wasn't practicing, as far as I know. So yeah, get that pass rush going. We need to get after Jake Meyer and disrupt that guy.
Yeah, like I don't know how they're gonna get that pass rush going with the way they are right now. Like they really have to start incorporating very creative blitzes. And I don't know if that's Jordan Younger or, Richie Hall's thing. They're very bad at, not very bad. It wasn't part of their defensive DNA last year to blitz, and they paid for it in the Grey Cup. It was not part of their DNA this year, and they paid for it again against Montreal. So I don't know how easily they can start sending blitzes in, but use Cole, use Evan Holm, disguise blitzes, bring in Brandon Alexander, and get pressure on the QB. I think that'll really help some of those coverage breakdowns because they're just on an island there in too much.
Yeah, you talk about the blitzes, and the blitz, every time I watch another team blitz the Bombers, 6 guys or whatever, it's like they get to Claros or they get some pressure. And I watch the Bombers do it, and when they blitz more than 5 guys or 6 guys, it's like they're not getting through. Like they did it a couple times, and even late in the last game, and Vernon Adams just stood in the pocket and he was fine, and he got the ball downfield to Hollins. It's like, come on, man, we got to figure these out. And if you're gonna throw these blitzes, get there or at least disrupt them a little bit. If you're not, then don't do it. They figure something else out. And especially in that game where the first down play, where they stopped them without the blitz. Now all of a sudden you throw the blitz and they hit this big play. It's like, come on, man, you got Jordan Younger, and I know there's a lot of pressure on you right now, but you got to figure these plays out. And you got to put your defense in position to succeed here, because they're getting burnt out there. Over 500 yards for that BC offense.
Use Brian Cole. Use him as even a delayed blitz. Let him see what the line is giving him. Look for that hole and send him through it. They got to be very creative about these blitzes.
Yeah,
bringing a blitz, a CFL blitz specialist. I don't know who that is. Other than
the vets need to really step up on that team too on D. I need a big game from Willie Jefferson, Big Hill, and Brandon Alexander here to help lead this defense and help them figure it out. Because I'm not seeing much. I know Willie's on his own, so maybe it's a little bit tougher there, but Big Hill, I haven't seen a big play out of him yet. And like I said, Brandon Alexander getting burned. So these guys really need to step up and start leading this defense.
Special teams, they actually need to keep improving, but especially on punting. I think punt returns, Chris Smith looked pretty good on and very capable on kick returns. So they need to get more yards on punting, and them punting is not good. Jameson Sheehan has not been playing good. His average and the team net average, I think both last in the league or second last in the league, it's not good. So they got to cover those punts.
He had some rough punts last game against BC. It was like, oh, dude, what's happening here? You're kind of falling off from the rookie season you had here. So we expected him to take that next step, but he's kind of faltering a little bit. But yeah, it's the field position, right? They got to win it. They got to start winning it. So at least with Janarian Grant, you knew there was always a chance that he could flip the field or return a big one. So hopefully we can see that from the return game from the Bombers, and just limit any opportunities from Calgary, right? No big punt returns, no big kick returns, and get on those guys and turn the special teams around and have them being a force for the Bombers instead of a weakness.
Ooh, lots of things in Bomberland. Bomber fans, put your comments in the comments section below. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk. It's actually pretty busy in Winnipeg Jets Nation. Thoughts on Rutger McGroarity situation, the Jets handling of young players? Go ahead.
What's going on here, man? Like this is like it's like almost like a theme with the Jets, starting back to Truba, Kane, Line eventually wanting out. Roslovic, I know he wasn't much of a player at the time, but he was asking for a little bit more, and the Jets were like, we're not giving it to you. Issues with Heinola and Perfetti getting benched. I don't know what it is. Like it's a different time in the NHL, right? Guys don't need to season as much as they used to do in the AHL before. It's time to give these guys some opportunities maybe early. At least have this guy get down there. Tell him, hey, yeah, there's an opportunity. You can make this lineup. Come out here, try it, and figure it out, and we'll see where you fit. Don't tell him right off the bat, yeah, you know what? Chances are you're going to be at the Moose.
What?
Where's the motivation for the guy to come out here and play?
Didn't they say they have to earn his time on the NHL team?
What's the earning time? I think last year or even the stretch run, from what I heard, that they weren't going to play him at all just because they were in the stretch run and they were battling for first and all that stuff. Okay, that's fine. But this year, I mean, you got to have these guys come into camp and at least try and make the lineup. I don't know exactly what's going on with Rutger here and why he wants out. Maybe he just wants out, and this is the excuse, right? Because you don't want to play in Winnipeg. I'm an American player, kind of thing. But you got to give these guys an opportunity. And right now, the Jets don't give that opportunity to a lot of younger guys.
I kind of don't, and you know my position on this. I don't get the position of the Jets having to kowtow to young talent. Yes, they are a draft and develop team, but does that mean that you let agents and players push you around? Like, what is the history of treating bad young players badly? Like, this is very different than the Cole Perfetti situation. This is a player. Perfetti's a player who's already on the team who lost his spot during a cold streak, which I disagree with. Like y'all stuck with Iafalo and other players longer than you do with Perfetti, but that's a different situation. And this isn't a Heinola situation. Heinola came into season and we saw him develop and he was ready for the NHL, but he got injured. So what are you gonna like they didn't treat him badly. Like
but he was back.
And all these Roslovic, these young guys, who did we really use? What's this culture that we're talking about here? Like that we're not paying Roslovic $4 million to play 20 games in a year? So I don't think they have a culture of treating young guys badly. They did offer McGroarity a contract, but he chose to play in the NCAA. Like, what is his play here? This seems more than like, does he want to skip to the 20 whatever group 6 free agency so we can negotiate a contract earlier? I don't think they should kowtow to this guy. Like, if they're, because that sets a horrible precedent for a draft and develop team. That means you're going to be pushed around all the time. And yes, he's a great prospect. And yes, he's a possible leader of the team. Well, then show you're a leader of the team and earn your spot on the team. Be willing to play.
Would he even get the opportunity to earn the spot?
Third and fourth line minutes.
How do you know he was even
if you don't guarantee me, let me finish. If you don't guarantee me this time, so I don't want to be here. That's nonsense.
Well, you don't even know what he has said or if he has said that at all. But if the guy's getting the thing going, you know what, you're going to play at least on the Moose for the next 2 seasons or at least this full season, and then we'll see where you are after that. Hey,
the guy
wants it. I don't know. I don't know what they said. Well, they haven't come out and said it. You don't know that they're saying, hey, you have to go earn it this way. You're not going to just get free time. The word is that
he has to earn his time on the team, which he should. He's a rookie.
Yeah, come in and play. But is he going to get the opportunity? We've seen the Jets slow play these guys. How many guys have actually made it right away? Line is the only guy that I could think of that played as a rookie, first year rookie.
Who are we missing?
Ehlers, the team is a rookie. Ehlers took time. Connor had to play in the AHL. Yeah. Scheifele went back to junior for a few seasons. Lowry, I guess, played a bit. He was probably a little bit earlier, but he went back for a bit. AHL, I mean, he was in St. John's, I think.
And it worked out.
Look at the defense, man. It's a logjam back there. Even though Heinola, you're saying, yeah, he made it and then got hurt. Where was he later on in the season? He was never given another opportunity. Halfway through the season, he was back playing with the Moose.
Yeah, but you're going to bring a guy off a serious injury like that when you're going into a stretched run?
It was earlier than that he was back with the Moose. So why not give him an opportunity late? You think he might have been better in Colorado to be able to move the puck quicker? At least an opportunity? I don't know, something.
Definitely not as a defensive defender.
He never even got a sniff after that.
Yeah.
So I don't like the way the Jets do it with these young guys. And yeah, who knows what's happened with McGroarity? Maybe he just wants out kind of thing. But, it's coming to a head right now. And if you're going to be a draft and develop team, you got to take better care of these prospects and give them a better opportunity to come in and
Yeah.
make a difference early.
You can't, yeah, but as a draft and develop team, you also can't kowtow to young talent and be
Sure.
pushed around because then you're
But
screwed.
but who are you keeping? Who do you want to see more out of Appleton?
But who have
I
we
mean,
lost of these rookies that we're complaining
Iafallo.
about?
Hey, well,
Who we
Trouba,
lost
we've
in this?
lost Trouba after time. We've
But
lost Evander
Truba
Kane
wanted
after
out because
time.
of his wife. He wanted
Line
out because of better opportunities and
Trouba
bigger
probably
market.
wanted out no matter what. Trouba was saying he wanted out even before his wife and his girlfriend. Line I mean, what happened there? Right? And who cares about Roslovic where he was at? He wanted out too. I mean, no matter what he turned into, then you're drafting the wrong guys, and you got to change your model of who you're drafting, and you got to get guys who are going to be wanting to be in Winnipeg, like a Lowry, like a Shifley kind of guy. You know, like I don't know what they're doing here half the time, and having these guys bulk at some point and complain about shit all the time. So
how do you establish that in an interview? Do you want to be here or not?
I mean, everyone's gonna say they want to be here, right? They're
That's the
probably gonna
thing.
lie to you, but you have to dig deeper, man.
You gonna put him in a
Draft
lie
day.
detector test?
Watch draft day with Kevin Costner, right? Figure it out.
Oh, give me a break. Lord have mercy. Will Ehlers be traded this week? If he is, what position should the Jets target?
I mean, if you're going to trade him, you might as well do it this week, not halfway through the season. You know, and especially if you're winning games and you're in a playoff race, it's going to be tougher to trade him. For me, I mean, the second line center is big for the Jets. They have to figure that out. If you're trading Ehlers, then you're probably thinking Perfetti could take that spot on that second line where Ehlers would be, right? So for me, a second line center, and if it takes packaging maybe somebody else to get that second line center along with Ehlers, go for it. If not, I guess D, but for me, second line center is huge.
I fear that if he's traded this week, it'd be more for prospects and drafts than it would be for an NHL ready player, like the rumors say, like Neckis from the Hurricanes or Chikrin from Ottawa. So I'm gonna, in hopes, say no, he won't be traded this week. I hope he's traded closer, whatever, to free agency. Maybe they might get a player ready to go. But yeah, I'm just gonna manifest it that way. I hope he doesn't get traded this week because I don't think that'll be in the best interest of the Jets right now.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna end up trading Rutger, you're probably hoping to get at least a first in this draft, right?
Rutger, yes.
Because you need to get back in there. I don't want to trade Ehlers to try and get a first in this draft because that just sets the Jets back a couple of years. You need an NHL ready player, and maybe he's a step down from Ehlers, but maybe you throw in a prospect as well or something like that, right?
Free agency on July 1st. If the Jets can't lock down Monahan, is there another center out there that should be targeted? I think I said this a month back ago, either Max Domi or Chandler Stevenson. Those are the two that I have my eyes on.
Yeah, I was looking around at some of these contracts that these guys could possibly get offered. Like Monahan's rumored at about just over 5 million. Stevenson, I think it would also be over 5. Elias Lindholm would probably be the best one, but you're probably looking at paying this guy 7 mil. With him, it would also kind of be, you know, maybe Shifley and him could be 1A, 1B kind of thing around there. But yeah, Domi, how about Matt Duchene? He had a pretty big bounce back season with Dallas. Could be a good option. You could probably get him for around 5 million. I don't think he'll end up coming to Winnipeg, but it's other that, you know, I'm not sold on Monahan being the guy, the second line center for over 5 million for the next few years. You know, unless you try out Brad Lambert and see what he can do. But we saw what happened with Perfetti last year, trying to kick it off at center for an
so
NHL
you're not
season.
Convinced in Monahan. It's not that
No.
they can't get him. You don't want to invest in him.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't feel like he will make this team a Stanley Cup champion, right? Or add to it. Like you'd have Shifley, Monahan, Lowry. Is that's pretty average top 3, right? It's not the greatest or whatever. So I think you need to make a splash somehow. But they only have what 8.8 million in cap space unless they can do something with Pionk and Schmidt.
They got to buy those dudes out. See, speaking of defense, thoughts on Demelo signing? 4.9 average. I don't like this logic of this guy being paid this salary to free up Morrissey. Really? You're paying $5 million for the purpose of a guy freeing up Morrissey? Like, unless you can prove that happens late in the season, which they didn't, especially against Colorado in the playoffs, I don't get it. Like, he's all right. He's solid for sure. But I think it's a bit too early to have paid him that much and committed that long. Like, I don't know. Did that contract have to be signed right now?
I mean, you risk him going, right? I mean, free agency is in a week, not even. I like the deal. Yeah, it may be a little bit too long, but 4.9 is under the projection that he would have got. He could have possibly got 5.3 from Evolving Hockey, and AFP Analytics came out with that contract amount. My concern is now, okay, you got this guy, but now you also got Schmidt, Pionk still sitting there. Where does it leave the rest of these Ds? And speaking of young guys, like Logan Stanley, to see where he can go, Hainala and this other Elias Salamonson kind of thing. I know he's only 19, but he's, chomping at the bit to get in there too. So I like the Demelo deal. It just makes me curious what you're doing with the rest of the D, and this probably means that Brendan Dillon is gone too.
Is 5 million too much to pay for a bottom pairing defenseman?
He won't be bottom pairing. He'll still be a top
I'm asking
four.
you. I'm asking you, not in regards to DeMello. Is 5 million too much to pay for a bottom pairing defenseman?
Yes, for sure.
So I think if you're looking at elite teams and going deep in the playoffs, DeMello doesn't improve you on defense. Passing that first round against a team like Colorado, no.
Yeah, he's a better option out there. I think you're downgrading him quite a bit. I think DeMello is actually better. What you're saying, he'll play in the top four. He'll play with Morrissey.
Where did that show in the playoffs so that he's better than what I'm saying?
Where did anything show in the playoffs the way the Jets were playing?
I'm just saying. He
wasn't on the ice for a lot of these goals. Pionk and freaking what's his name were on the ice for a lot of these.
They got to get rid. Oh yeah, I agree. They got to get rid of those guys. But the commitment to sure. Let's move on. Jets fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Let's continue on with the Winnipeg Jets and quick shots. Who should the Jets target for backup goalie?
Yeah, I was looking at this one from Florida there, Anthony Stellares, but dude had a wicked season, pretty close to Laurent Brossoit, but he's probably going to get paid way too much. Without this cap space, it's not a lot. So I don't think you can pay a guy more than a mil or $1.5 million kind of thing. So maybe Chris Drager from Seattle. He's a Winnipeg-born player. Maybe you can get him for around $1 million. He only played 2 games last year, so I believe he was quite injured. So we'll see on that. Maybe Casey DeSmith. Bring back Eric Comrie. I don't know about that.
Ooh, I'm gonna go out on the plank here on a whatever. What do you call it? Pirate chips? What do you call that stuff? Pirate chips?
Yeah,
a plank, whatever it is. Oh, there's a plank. Just give Milic a shot. Why not give him a shot at the big team? 19-9-1 with a shutout and getting the Moose's the only 2 playoff starts that they had. Just give him a shot already if you're concerned about money. Where's the best spot for Laurent Brossoit? Edmonton. Go back to the beginning. Edmonton, they could probably get him at a good deal, and they're so close to winning. So I'm going to go Edmonton.
You think they're not going to bench Skinner at this point, right? And I think Brossoit wants an opportunity to end up starting. So,
yeah. How much term do they have on Skinner?
They just ended up signing him last year, the year before, maybe a couple more years at least.
Yeah.
I would say probably LA. I mean, they have no one. They got Rittich, I think, still. Cam Talbot's probably gone. He'd get a great opportunity there to play. Even Toronto with Joseph Woll, he'd be probably a tandem kind of thing back and forth because you don't know what you got in Joseph Woll yet. I know he played strong, especially in the playoffs and that, but you don't know what you got. So those would be my 2 options for him.
Toronto will overpay for sure. Is Pomo a Hall of Fame coach?
Yeah, after he needed the Stanley Cup. But yeah, I mean, the dude's got a better winning percentage than guys that are in there and now has a Stanley Cup. Pat Quinn's in there, Pat Burns, Ken Hitchcock. Quinn doesn't even have a Stanley Cup. Burns and Hitchcock have 1. So yeah, if you're going to put those guys in, then to me, Pomo would be in 2.
Yes. Mark Crawford, Jack Adams, Pat Burns, Al Arbor, all losing records.
Mark Crawford in there? I didn't notice when I was looking today.
476. Should McDavid have been out there for the Conn Smythe? No. The man just lost the biggest game of his life. He shook hands. He's the leader of the team. If he wants to be with his teammates, let him be with his teammates. Stop being complainers and trying to make a story out of nothing. So what? The guy didn't want to get the Conn Smythe. If you want to give the Conn Smythe to the losing player, do it like they did with Hextall and do it in the media room or off the ice.
J.S. Shigera had to go out and get it that time. But yeah, I agree with you. No, he doesn't need to be on the ice. I mean, the team's celebrating like crazy. The team that you just lost to, give it to him in the back room or make your announcement on the ice, wherever you got to do. But yeah, no.
Is Morello walking away from Coyotes ownership the end of hockey in the desert or dessert?
No, I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a better thing that the dude's walking away because he didn't seem very good anyways, right? And Gary's going to try and get back to Arizona and build this thing again. So
Yes.
he'll find someone to eventually buy it. But you know what? Give us back our history.
Oh, we already have it. Come on.
It
Now.
belongs to the NHL now. Now it's reverted back to the NHL.
Look at the
because of
banners
this.
in the look at the banners in the arena. The Jets, we've taken Jets 1.0 history. We don't need their permission. No, it's not the end of hockey in the desert. If Gary wants to happen, it's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure Uncle Gary almost made a mess in his pants when he was making that Florida Panthers announcement. Did you see how excited that guy was? Giving props to Wayne Huizenga and the long history of the past. Give me a break, man. You made your pants dirty over that announcement because of the Sun Belt. You made yourself happy. What a joke.
His Sun Belt teams are winning. Tampa and Florida.
I know. He's loving it right now.
Dallas won one.
He's loving it. Benny, everything today, our friends. Why doesn't he give that much attention and love to our little market here?
Dude, you imagine if he could get rid of all of Canada in hockey, he would have.
Except Toronto.
In a heartbeat, yeah, Toronto. Except Toronto.
Toronto could probably hold that NHL league on a CBC Hockey Night or whatever Hockey Night in Canada is now. I don't know, by their own. But
will that team ever make it to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
Ever?
Now, like with Austin Matthews, ever? I don't know. Maybe what do we got? Another 40 years on this planet? You think they'll make it?
Yes, the finals for sure. I'll take that one.
They haven't made it in the previous 80 years. And they've never won 3 rounds in a playoff either, or made it 3 rounds. No,
if my life depended on it, I think they'd make it. And if not, oh well, we'll have to see till the end, anyways.
Yeah.
Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget subscribe, follow, and go Bombers, go!
Yeah, come on, beat the Stamps. 0-4 would be hurtful.
This is going to be a busy week, right? The draft is this week, then free agency starts, the Bombers play. Oh, and then all of a sudden it's going to get quiet next week with hockey by midweek.
If the Bombers go 0-4, it won't be quiet.
Ooh, no.
In the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.